Alright, good afternoon one and all, and welcome to the video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you meta programming in Python basically. So what are we going to achieve in this video is basically I'm going to show you how to eliminate constructors in object-oriented programming. So no need of constructors. So we'll use inheritance, and then eventually we'll be using a meta class to do the job. So without wasting much of time, let's get started. Just a one small note, this is not for a beginner because this is a little advanced level of Python, because if you wanna, I do expect people who are watching this video knows inheritance, have a knowledge of objects in Python, and a little bit about metaprogramming. With that being said, let's get started. So the very first thing that comes into your mind is basically, how do you write a class? One sec, there is something behind my keyboard. All right, so the first thing that comes inside your mind would be, how do you write a class? So you can say a class known as person, right? I can say class known as person, and pretty much I can say object, right? I can define a constructor, so simple init. I can define a method, and that's my class, right? That's pretty much it. So if I wanna run this, and I will show you how to eliminate the constructors and what are the disadvantage of doing that, and how can we improve the code. So let's create an object, person, right? And I'm gonna print that object, obj.method. All right, beautiful. That's pretty much it. Let me run it, and then I'll show you how can I eliminate this using constructors. Using inheritance. My bad. So here you can see the object has been created, right? Now I don't want to write construct. So if I had to pass a name, right? Self.name is equal to name, right? So if I had to pass the name, and I can just print that here, right? String formatting a little bit. All right, nice. Let's run it. So of course name is none because I did not pass it. Let's run this. Oops, what happened? Okay, got an unexpected keyword argument. Oh, sorry, spelling mistake. Let's run it. And here you can see name is Somil. Now, how can I avoid these constructors? Okay, let's have a look at that now. So the one of the possible approach to do this job would be using inheritance, right? So what I can do is I can do some. I don't know if you have ever seen something like this before. Base. The base class will inherit from object, and I'm gonna define a class variable, and it's gonna be a list, right? And I'll define all my attributes right here. So I'm gonna say define underscore underscore init self, right? And I'm gonna pass args and quarks. Args quarks. So basically what I'll do is for name and value, sorry. So name and value in self dot, what I'll do is basically I'm gonna use like a zip, and I'll show you what this does basically. So zip, and I'm gonna say self dot underscore the class variable, that is the fields, and we'll pass the arguments. So what this will do basically is I will print it, don't worry, so we can see, we can learn. All right, just for distinguishing this. And what I'll do is basically I'll call something on a set attrs, and I'm gonna pass the instant variable there, name comma value, right? Now what I can do is basically that name variable, remember I can eliminate this, and I can say the fields one, and whatever variable that I want to define, I can define it right here, right? And I can access this variable using just a self method. Now this will inherit from base. So see what's happening. Alright, now let's try to run the same code and see what happens. Oops, my bad. Had a small issue. Let's see what is that. Attribute person object has no attribute name. Oops, sorry. Yep. Right. And want to make sure. Oh, yep. Let me remove that. Yep, this should work. Here you can see. So I eliminated the constructor in this class by just inheriting the above parent constructor and setting the attributes there. So I pass in this field like this variable. This basically goes inside the parent constructor. So here you can see name and sawmill. I'm printing the name and value, right? And in this way you can eliminate the basically a constructor in the child class or whatever you want to do. Now one of the thing you should think at this point is, hey, this is very cool. I mean, you don't have to write constructors. I mean, that's good. So you should ask a question saying that, hey, what are the disadvantage of doing this? The first disadvantage is you cannot use quarks method. So you can supply arguments like this, but you cannot do name is equal to this way. This will give you error, right? So let me prove my point. Yep, here you can see attribute person has no attribute name. Let me remove that. Now there is a pretty easy way to get around this to solve this method. Basically, what we will do is basically, let me divide this video into 3 parts. So let me conclude this as a part 1. And the part 2, I'll be showing you how can we make the quarks method work with this approach. So if you have any more question on this part, let me know, and I would be seeing you guys in the next part, this part 2.